It was the summer of 1991. In a quiet neighborhood on the edge of town, the Harris family lived an ordinary, happy life. Anna, the gentle mother, spent her evenings tidying up the kitchen while her husband, Michael, read the newspaper in his worn armchair. And in the small bedroom down the hall, a little girl named Lily sat cross-legged on her pink blanket, clutching her favorite toy, a small voice recorder shaped like a teddy bear. Every night before bed, Lily pressed the red button and whispered into the toy's tiny microphone. Sometimes it was a bedtime story she made up, sometimes a song she'd learned. But most nights she simply said, "Good night, Mommy. Good night, Daddy. I love you." Anna would smile, standing by the door, watching her daughter record her little secrets. It was their nightly ritual: soft laughter, a kiss on the forehead, the click of the light switch, the kind of moment that feels eternal until the day it suddenly isn't. That night, the rain came without warning. Thunder rolled far away, soft at first, then closer, like footsteps in the clouds. The lights flickered once, then steadied. Lily was already tucked into bed, her stuffed animals lined neatly around her pillow. Anna sat beside her, brushing back a strand of hair from her face. Lily smiled sleepily, pressing the red button on her recorder. Her tiny voice filled the room. "Good night, Mommy. Good night, Daddy. Don't forget to dream." Anna laughed softly, kissed her forehead, and whispered, "Sleep tight, my love." She turned off the light. The room glowed faintly from the hallway lamp, then went still. Only the sound of rain tapping against the window remained. Hours later, a faint noise woke Anna. She couldn't tell what it was: a creak, a shuffle, maybe the storm. Something felt wrong. She walked down the hall, her footsteps slow, uncertain. When she opened Lily's door, the air inside was still. The window was closed. The blanket lay smooth, untouched, but the bed was empty. "Lily!" Her voice cracked the silence. No answer. Panic surged. Anna called again, louder this time. Michael rushed from the bedroom, confusion turning to fear as they searched every corner, every room, shouting her name into the storm. And then, from Lily's bed, the small recorder clicked. It began to play on its own. Lily's voice, faint through the static. "Good night, Mommy. Good night." Then silence. The house that once echoed with laughter was now filled with the sound of sirens and whispers. Red and blue lights washed over the walls, flashing, fading, flashing again. Police moved through each room, careful, methodical, yet uncertain. Anna sat on the couch, wrapped in a blanket that didn't seem to warm her. Her hands trembled as she tried to answer the questions. "When did you last see her? Did you notice anything unusual?" Her mind spun in circles. The only thing she remembered clearly was Lily's voice, that tiny recording still playing in her head. "Good night, Mommy. Good night, Daddy." Michael stood by the door, arms crossed, eyes red but dry. He wanted to be strong, but every word from the officers sounded like a hammer breaking him apart. Outside, neighbors gathered in the rain, flashlights cutting through the darkness, calling Lily's name into the night. No footprints, no signs of a break-in, nothing. It was as if she had simply vanished. Days turned into weeks. Posters went up. Calls came in. Each one was a new spark of hope, and each one faded into the same heavy silence. Anna stopped sleeping. She would sit by Lily's bed every night, the recorder clutched in her hands, replaying that final message until the tape began to wear thin. Michael withdrew, quiet, distant, lost somewhere inside himself. Months passed, then years. The search slowed. The phone stopped ringing, and the file "Lily Harris, missing 1991" was placed among the cold cases. The years moved on even when their hearts refused to. The Harris home grew quieter with each passing season. Birthdays came and went. A small cake, a candle, an empty chair. Anna still baked Lily's favorite, vanilla with pink frosting. She'd set it on the table, whispering, "Happy birthday, my love," to a room that never answered. Michael tried to hold the pieces together, the bills, the job, the long hours that numbed the ache. But something in him had changed. He stopped talking about Lily, stopped walking past her room. He said it hurt too much to see it, but Anna couldn't bear to close the door. Every morning, she opened the window just enough to let the light touch Lily's toys. Her dresses still folded neatly in drawers. The recorder sat on the nightstand, quiet but ever present, like a heartbeat trapped in plastic. On crowded streets, Anna would sometimes hear a child's laugh, and for one impossible second, her heart would race. Lily? But it was always someone else. Always a stranger's face. The world kept moving forward. New neighbors moved in. Old friends stopped visiting. They didn't know what to say anymore. And slowly, quietly, Michael began to fade from her too. First in words, then in the presence. Until only Anna remained, living between memories and silence. Time didn't heal Anna, it only sharpened her need to know. Each night, when the world fell silent, she opened the worn box that held what little remained of Lily's life. Photos, drawings, newspaper clippings, and the tiny recorder. She would press play, listening through the soft hiss of the old tape, hoping to hear something new, something she'd missed. By now she knew every breath, every giggle, every pause between Lily's words. But hope made her listen again, and again. Her kitchen table became a private investigation room. Stacks of case files, police notes, and old maps of their neighborhood spread across it like a puzzle she refused to give up on. She made lists, drew timelines, marked patterns. When the police stopped looking, Anna didn't. She joined missing persons groups, traded theories with other grieving parents, and even called psychics who promised to hear what others couldn't. Some told her Lily was alive. Others said she'd moved on to a place of light. None of them gave her peace. But she clung to their words anyway because they were something. On sleepless nights, she dreamed of Lily's voice calling from another room, soft and distant, sometimes singing that same lullaby she used to record. "Good night, Mommy. Good night." Anna would wake in tears, the recorder still in her hand, the tape whirring softly until it stopped. She couldn't let it go, because deep inside, she felt the story wasn't over. Something or someone was still trying to speak. 9 years had passed since Lily's voice last filled the house. 9 long years of silence. Until the call came. It was early evening, the kind of dusk where everything feels suspended between day and night. The phone rang once, twice. Anna almost didn't answer. When she finally did, the line crackled. A man's voice, low, hesitant, spoke just one sentence. "Play the tape again. But this time, listen to the part about the window." Then the line went dead. Anna froze, the receiver still pressed to her ear. No name, no number, just that voice, distant, strange, and gone as quickly as it came. That night, she sat on the floor of Lily's room, the recorder trembling in her hands. The toy had survived all these years, scratched, faded, but still working. She pressed play. Lily's voice filled the room, innocent and warm through the hiss of time. "Good night, Mommy. Good night, Daddy. Don't forget to dream." Anna listened closer, rewinding, replaying, leaning into the static. Then she heard it. Barely there, buried beneath Lily's words. A whisper, a faint sound, like a breath or a second voice. Her pulse quickened. She rewound again, turning the toy to her ear. And there, just before Lily said, "Good night," a tiny phrase she'd never noticed. "Look out." The window. Anna's hands shook. Her eyes filled. 9 years of silence, and now, something. A clue. A message. Maybe a miracle. She didn't know who had called or why now. But for the first time in years, the darkened heart around her began to stir with light. The house was silent again, just as it had been the night Lily disappeared. But this silence felt different. It was expectant, listening. Anna stood in the doorway of Lily's room, holding the old recorder like something sacred. 9 years of grief had etched lines into her face, but in her eyes, there was something new, a flicker of courage, a fragile hope. She had cleaned the room earlier that day, dusted the dresser, folded the faded blanket, and opened the window halfway, allowing the cold evening air to enter. It smelled like rain, like the night everything changed. Anna sat on the edge of the bed. The recorder felt heavier than she remembered. Its plastic casing was cracked, the buttons worn smooth from years of trembling fingers. For a long moment, she stared at it. Her heart thudded softly against her ribs, slow, deliberate. What if she heard something she couldn't bear? What if it was nothing at all? She wasn't sure which would hurt more, but she had to know. She owed that to the little girl who once whispered into this toy, believing her mother would always be listening. Anna took a deep breath. Then, with trembling hands, she pressed play. The tape began to play, the same recording Anna had heard 1,000 times. Lily's sweet, familiar voice filled the room once more. "Good night, Mommy. Good night, Daddy. Don't forget to dream." Anna closed her eyes, breathing through the ache that still lived in those words. But this time she listened differently. Not as a mother longing for her child, but as a seeker, searching for truth hidden in the noise. There, beneath the hiss, something faint. A sound she had never noticed before. A soft echo, like another voice. She rewound, played it again, slowed it down. The voice was clearer now, distorted, almost whispering through the static. A man's voice, low, urgent. "By the old bridge. Don't look." Her heart pounded. She froze, hands trembling over the recorder, afraid to breathe. Had that always been there? Was it real? Or was her grief finally distorting what she heard? Anna needed help. The Enigurle she met with Mark, an old friend who ran a tiny sound studio downtown. He had worked with audio restoration for years, bringing life back to damaged recordings. When she handed him the tape, her voice barely held steady. "Please," she whispered. "Just tell me if you hear it too." Hours passed as Mark worked, cleaning the audio, filtering static, isolating frequencies. Every second stretched like hours. Then he looked up from his equipment, eyes wide, pale. "Anna, listen." Through the speakers came Lily's voice again. Light, innocent, unbroken by time. But in the background, faint and deliberate, came the whisper once more. "By the old bridge. I'm up the stairs." Anna's breath caught in her throat. The old bridge. A place just outside town, near the woods where they'd searched years ago. Her hands shook as she covered her mouth. 9 years of silence, and now, her daughter's voice had given her a direction. A message she was never meant to hear. Until now. The next morning, Anna took the tape and what little hope she had left straight to the only man who had ever truly believed her. Detective Harris. He had worked the case back in '91 before it went cold. He was older now, slower, but when he heard that faint whisper, "By the old bridge," something in his eyes lit up again. They spent hours poring through old reports, yellowed photos, and maps marked with red circles long forgotten. Witness statements, interviews, search zones, all revisited with new eyes. And there it was, a detail everyone had missed. A small property near the bridge, tucked behind a stretch of overgrown trees. It had once belonged to a man questioned years ago, a quiet handyman who lived alone, who'd moved away shortly after Lily vanished. The place had been abandoned ever since. As evening fell, Anna and the detective drove out past the edge of town. The road turned to dirt, winding through fields that had swallowed the years whole. In the distance, the bridge appeared rusted, forgotten, the river below whispering through the dark. They stopped the car. The air was cold, heavy with memory. Crickets fell silent as they stepped out, flashlights cutting thin paths through the mist. Through the trees, half hidden by vines' AA shadows, stood an old shed, its door slightly ajar, creaking with the wind. The wood was splintered, the windows long gone, but something about it felt alive, as if time itself had been waiting there. Anna's hands tightened around the recorder in her pocket. Her heartbeat echoed louder than the rain. Every step closer made the past feel nearer, like Lily's voice was guiding her, whispering through the night. "By the old bridge. I'm up the stairs." She and the detective exchanged a look. No words, only understanding. Then, flashlight steady, they pushed open the door. The air inside the shed was colder than the night outside. Anna's L cut across the floor, broken glass, rusted tools, and old newspapers curling at the edges. The smell of damp earth and time filled her lungs. Each step echoed, hollow and uncertain. Detective Harris moved ahead, careful, sweeping his light across the walls. There were markings, scratches, initials maybe, carved into the wood long ago. Then Anna saw it. On a small shelf near the back, something covered in dust, but familiar. Her breath caught. A recorder. Small, pink, just like Lily's. Her hands shook as she reached for it. The plastic was cracked, the batteries long dead, but she knew that toy. She'd bought it herself on Lily's 7th birthday. Tears blurred her vision as she whispered, "Lily, you were here." Detective Harris scanned the floor, found a child's hair clip, faded and rusted, beside a torn piece of fabric caught beneath a board. Evidence. Proof. Pieces of a truth buried for 9 years. Then a sound. Faint. Behind them, footsteps. Anna froze, turning toward the doorway. A shadow moved against the light. Someone was there watching. "Who's out there?" the detective called. His voice cut through the air, sharp and commanding. No answer, just the sound of breathing. From the darkness stepped a man, older now, gray streaking his hair, eyes uneasy under the flashlight's glare. Anna knew that face. A neighbor, Mr. Kelland. He'd lived 2 houses down all those years ago. The man who'd helped search, who'd brought her coffee and told her not to lose faith. "Mr. Kelland, what are you doing here?" Anna's voice trembled. He forced a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "I saw your car. Thought you might need help." The detective stepped closer. "This place was yours once, wasn't it?" Kelland's jaw tightened, paused too long. Then he said quietly, "No one comes here anymore. Best you both leave." But his voice cracked, and in that small break, the truth trembled beneath the surface. Anna clutched the toy to her chest, her heart pounding. The air was thick, heavy with fear and revelation. For the first time, she realized the monster she'd been searching for wasn't a stranger. It had been right next door. The shed felt smaller now, the air thick with fear and memory. Detective Harris's flashlight wavered as he stepped closer to Kelland, his voice low but unyielding. "Tell her the truth." The man's shoulders sagged. His breath came uneven, as if 9 years of secrets had finally grown too heavy to bear. He sank against the wall, eyes glassy. "I didn't mean to hurt her," he whispered. "She came looking for her cat. I just wanted to scare her. But she fell, panicked. I buried her near the bridge." Anna's knees gave out. The world seemed to tilt and collapse around her. For years she had prayed for an answer, and now that it had come, it shattered her. Her trembling fingers brushed against the toy recorder still clutched in her palm. The same toy that had carried Lily's final voice across time. She pressed play. Through the static, Lily's voice filled the air again. Faint, fragile, eternal. "Mommy, I'm by the old bridge." Anna closed her eyes as tears streamed down her face. Her little girl hadn't vanished into nothing. She had tried to call out, tried to come home. The detective knelt beside her, hand steady on her shoulder, as Kelland was led away, the weight of justice finally falling after years of silence. Outside, the first light of dawn touched the trees. The sky broke open, not in storm, but in soft, forgiving color. Anna walked toward the bridge hours later, guided by the voice that had never truly left her. There, among wildflowers and forgotten earth, they found her, Lily's small resting place, marked by time but untouched by forgetfulness. Anna knelt in the dirt, pressing the recorder beside the soil. "I found you, sweetheart," she whispered. "I heard you." The tape clicked one final time as if answering. And for the first time in 9 years, Anna felt peace. The days that followed felt unreal. After 9 years of searching, of hoping, of breaking and rebuilding, there was finally an ending. Not the one Anna had dreamed of, but the one her heart had long prepared for. The police sealed the site. The media swarmed. and the town whispered the story that had haunted it for nearly a decade. Neighbors left flowers by the bridge. Old friends called, voices trembling with both sorrow and relief. In the quiet moments, Anna sat by Lily's bed once more. The room was just as it had been, frozen in time, untouched by the years that had slipped away. She held the toy recorder to her chest, eyes closed, listening to the faint hum of its empty tape. For the first time, she didn't cry. She simply breathed. Michael returned a few days later. They hadn't spoken much in years. Silence had built walls between them that neither knew how to cross. But now, standing in the doorway of their daughter's room, Michael's voice broke. I should have stayed. I should have kept looking. Anna turned, tears welling again, but softer this time. She reached for his hand, and for a long moment they simply held on. Two broken halves of the same wound, finally facing it together. At the memorial, Anna placed the recorder beside a small framed photo of Lily, smiling, missing her front tooth. When the wind brushed through the trees, it carried a whisper that almost sounded like her laughter. The toy was ever played again, but it didn't need to, because in that silence, Anna finally heard. It was a calm evening, almost like the one from so many years ago. The sky outside was soft with sunset, and the air carried that golden stillness that only comes after a storm. Anna sat on Lily's bed again, the same place where every night once ended with a kiss and a bedtime story. In her hands was the little recorder, worn, scratched, but still alive. She pressed play. Lily's voice, that tiny, timeless echo, filled the room. Good night, Mommy. Good night, Daddy. I love you. Anna smiled. For years, those words had torn her apart. Now they wrapped around her like a lullaby. If Lily had lived, she would have been 16 now, maybe taller, maybe shy, maybe curious about the world. And in some way, Anna felt her there. Not as a ghost, but as presence, memory, heartbeat. She pressed record. Her voice trembled, not from pain, but from peace. Good night, my sweet girl, she whispered. You can rest now, and so can I. The recorder clicked, sealing her words into the same loop of love that had begun 9 years before. Anna set it down gently beside Lily's photo, bathed in the soft glow of the setting sun. The room was quiet, not empty, not haunted, just still. And in that stillness, the story that began with Journal a Whisper ended with 1-2. It's been 2 years since that day by the bridge. The seasons have turned, the town has healed, and so has she. Anna now lives in a smaller house, a quiet place by the edge of town, where the mornings are soft and the evenings come slow. Sometimes, she still dreams of Lily, but now the dreams are warm. They aren't about loss anymore. They're about love, the kind that never faded, even when the world went dark. On her dresser sits the little toy recorder. Its plastic is faded, the buttons worn smooth from years of trembling fingers. It hasn't played in months. And yet, sometimes, when the wind slips through the window just right, it almost sounds like a click, as if the past is reminding her it's still there, but at peace. If Lily survived, she's in school now. New city, new friends. A little quieter than other kids, but brave in the way only those who've been lost and found can be. And every now and then, she records her thoughts into her phone. Tiny digital echoes of a life reclaimed. If she didn't, then her voice still lingers in every recording, every whisper of memory that hums between silence and time. Either way, Anna smiles more these days. She plants flowers by the window, writes in her journal, and sits in the evening light with the recorder nearby, not because she needs to hear it, but because it reminds her that love leaves echoes that never truly fade. And in the night, a familiar voice, faint but clear, drifts through the silence once more. Good night, Mommy.